Meanwhile, Russia is wasting no time to respond against Ukraine after the bombing of a bridge linking Russia and Crimea. Hours after accusing Ukraine of a terrorist act, Russia launched a series of widespread strikes on Ukrainian cities overnight. Those blasts hit targets including Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, that was hit for the first time in months. At least 6 people are dead after hours of missiles and shelling at the capital. As many as 10 are dead countrywide. Joining me now is retired Major General and former Congressman William Enyart. General, thank you for being with us this morning. Would you say the comments made by the president were appropriate?
Well, I think clearly Russian relations with the West and NATO are at the lowest point we've seen in years.
Okay.
So in terms of him stating that we're closer to Armageddon, that's absolutely true. I think any world leader would tell you the same. And any military or intelligence leader would certainly tell you the same behind closed doors. So was it appropriate? I think it's certainly true.
So what effect do you believe these comments will have on the Kremlin?
Well, I think that the Kremlin already understands, or I certainly hope that the Kremlin already understands the message that the administration and also many of our retired 4-star admirals and generals have been putting out, and that is that Russia cannot afford to use a nuclear weapon in Ukraine. The consequences to Russia would be devastating, and it would be a very limited military operational value. Even China and India have been telling Russia, in essence, don't do this. They can't afford to lose the last of their friends.
So what do you make of these widespread strikes from Putin? What does that signal to you about his strategy?
Well, he's clearly trying to punish the Ukrainians for the damage done to this bridge. This has been a tactic he's been using since the very beginning of the war. He's been attacking civilians. And, much like Hitler in World War II terror bombed London, all it did was strengthen the British people's resolve to defeat Germany. I think the same is true here. I think that the Ukrainian people are not going to bow to Putin's dictatorial whims.
So Putin has made many nuclear threats in the past few months, as you know. By your estimation, how likely is he going to follow through with a nuclear strike on Ukraine, would you say?
Well, clearly, it would be a strategic disaster for him. It would turn the last of his friends against him. It's of limited military value. So when you look at it from a Western logical perspective, he shouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. But unfortunately, Putin doesn't operate from the logical process that we do. He sees himself as the rebuilder of the Russian Empire, the messiah of the Russian Empire. So he's not operating under the logical constraints that we would think about. Another concern that we should have is what happens to Russia post-Putin. Russia did not survive. The Russian Empire didn't survive World War I. It splintered into factions. There was civil war. U.S. soldiers, in fact, even fought in Russia after World War I. So we could well have a situation where if Russia splinters into factions, we could have a half a dozen warlords who would make Putin look rational controlling this nuclear arsenal.
Retired Major General and former Congressman William Enyart, thank you so much for your insight this morning. We appreciate it as always.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.